Wilminvest is the story of your traditional fixer-upper meeting social innovation. My name is Joel Amin Jr., and I am a tradesman born and raised. I grew up working in the family plumbing business from a very young age, and in high school attended a 4-year trade school where I studied, you guessed it, plumbing. In our free time, my father trained me on renovating distressed homes. Having developed a passion for affordable housing for those in need, Horn Entrepreneurship and the Wharton School has equipped our team to take on one of the biggest socio-political issues facing our great state: vacant and abandoned properties in Wilmington, Delaware. It all started in middle school at Henry C. Conrad Schools of Science, where I met my best friends and eventual business partners. We come together as a diverse and multidisciplined team to engage in what we call social impact real estate investing. We believe our individual skill sets come together to create the best team which sustainably invests in this particular market in a way that this city has never seen before. What do we do here at Wilminvest? Well, that's very simple. We repurpose vacant properties by acquiring, renovating, and renting them out as permanent supportive housing.
Hi, my name is Tina Showalter. I'm currently Executive Director of Housing Alliance Delaware. Permanent supportive housing is a way to house those who may have the challenges of a cognitive disability, a physical disability, substance abuse, mental health disorder.
Currently, we have one property under management on the far side of West Center City. This property was inhabitable, out of building code, and burdening the city with back-owed taxes and much more. At this very moment, this home is being rented out for over $1,000 a month in federally subsidized rental payments through an early partner organization of ours, Horizon House. We've created a lease agreement for various organizations, particularly for the housing directors of these organizations, which benefits all parties. The Wilminvest agreement provides benefits to all parties involved. Our community revitalization process is ridding the city of blighted properties, but more importantly, providing a home for individuals in need.
The first step was to get out of the building and talk to some organizations that provide permanent supportive housing to see if they need more landlord partners. Last July, we began forming relationships with housing directors at Connections Community Support Programs, Horizon House, the Delaware Center for Homeless Veterans, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and even the CEO of Sunday Breakfast Mission. Our questions were answered before we even sat down. 2 minutes into introductions, we heard them say, "We can provide you with tenants as soon as you have housing." We now have signed letters of support and intent from Connections Community Support Programs. According to the Corporation for Supportive Housing, a national leader in the industry, there is a total need of 370,000 more beds nationwide in supportive housing. Delaware specifically needs 10,000 more beds, and 7,500 of them are needed in Wilmington. The city of Wilmington has continued to make headlines around the country as one of the most dangerous cities in America. Right now, there are around 1,650 vacant and abandoned houses doing nothing but accruing back-owed taxes and attracting crime. It's such a big problem that the city initiated the formation of the Wilmington Neighborhood Conservancy Land Bank, an organization that buys vacancies and sells them at low prices to responsible investors. Thanks to our resolution from Wilmington City Council, we have entered into a partnership with the Land Bank as well as the Department of Real Estate and Housing to have access to some of their first properties. Vacant properties can't be transformed without working hands. We have an internal network of local private contractors and property management services in place to complete streamlined construction work at a discounted price. With scaling in mind, we have formed relationships with social renovation programs like Two Fish Home Renovations. Two Fish trains at-risk youth and ex-convicts in Wilmington to do construction. We want to give back to the city by having residents fix up the properties in the very streets they grew up in. The problem Wilminvest intends to solve is two sides. There's a lack of permanent supportive housing and way too many vacant properties. We call our solution Wilminvesting, a strategic partnership of organizations from the private sector, government, and community organizations.
The housing affordability gap for renters with a disability is even more challenging than those who are low income or extremely low income. That's true throughout the state, and it's particularly true in the city of Wilmington. I think sometimes we don't do enough marketing to those people who have the resources, the interest, and the desire to work in that area and to expand both our rapid rehousing with our landlords as well as permanent supportive housing. There are developers, there is land, there are brick and mortar units sitting vacant and abandoned in the city of Wilmington. Those individuals, such as Wilminvest and others, are dying, if you will, to make an impact in this area. And it's incredibly important that Housing Alliance Delaware, Delaware State Housing Authority, the City of Wilmington give them that opportunity.
Our business model at its core is to acquire distressed residential properties throughout the city of Wilmington, specifically where we see an opportunity to add significant value through our renovation and repurposing of the houses. After acquiring and renovating a property, we then secure these long-term leases for supportive housing environments in our properties through our relationships with the various community healthcare organizations around the state. Our social mission is at the forefront of all of our operations, but we are also able to invest for profit in the community and realize significant gains while benefiting the surrounding community. Our team is raising $75,000 of pre-seed funding via negotiable terms to acquire 2 residential properties throughout Wilmington that we have identified as the ideal locations for permanent supportive housing environments to establish our initial portfolio and launch the Wilminvest pilot. Once we stabilize our properties, we then will use the remaining capital to expand our portfolio. So this brings us to a $100,000 capital requirement to successfully launch the pilot. Net of the debt financing in the form of mortgages that we plan to take on, that brings our investor capital need to around $75,000.
Now the question remains, will you invest with Wilminvest?